Funding for the Railways of Crotoonia has been provided by our Patreon patrons, and by our all-new YouTube members, and by contributions to the MilanToon channel from viewers like you. Thank you!
Welcome to Crotoonian Shoots, the program in which we see the Railways of Crotoonia in all of its raw wonder. Today, we'll be visiting the little engines down in Conifton Valley.
Mike was cross. The thin controller had assigned him to ballast duties for being naughty, and Mike hated being stuck at the mines all day. He found it rather boring. One morning, Mike arrived at Chipperton Wharf with a loaded train of ballast. He saw Duncan, who was getting his train loaded.
Morning, Mike. What's up?
I feel overworked. That's what's up, huffed Mike. I've been going up and down the line all day, stuck with the ballast trains, and all because I burst a safety valve and started an elderly woman. Duncan pondered for a moment.
You know, if I was on your wheels, I would have probably taken a break up on the coast at Birmingham. You know, have the ocean breeze in your face. Your line does run up there after all.
And with that, Duncan set off for the quarry. This gave Mike an idea. All that week, Mike tried everything to sneak off to Birmingham. He tried to sneak ballast cars and lumber cars out as a construction delivery. He tried to run off light engine on his own and even begged the yard manager to let him go there. At last, he finally got a job on the resort end of the line, but not the one he had hoped for.
An express train needs to be arranged at the Swahili Water Park Resort for a group of tourists. I need you to bring them some coaches so they have enough for the train to carry them.
Yes, sir, said Mike, but he had a plan. Mike knew of one carriage that had a faulty coupler pin on it, so he coupled that to the front of his train. As he trundled out with 5 heavy covered carriages, he felt the pin push against him as he went downhill. Not yet, he said. We've got to wait until we reach the resort. As he approached the resort station, Scott, the express tank engine, was waiting for Mike's extra coaches. As he pulled into the platform, he put his plan into motion. With the pin loosened enough, left on the platform were the carriages for the train, and off went Mike. "What the?" said Scott.
Slow down, Mike,
Said his driver.
we just passed by the station.
But Mike wasn't listening. He was bolting it to the Burmaburg coast. Stations and shunting yards flashed by as his driver fought for control of the regulator. At the big station in Burmaburg, there were a pair of buffers on the other side of the turntable, just at the tail end of the shunting yards. Mike was still not paying any attention until he saw the buffers. Then everything happened at once. Mike found himself standing on the sand instead of the rails with the remains of the buffers behind him.
Don't worry, Mike,
Called out his driver.
I'll go phone for help.
Mike sighed. There had been a break, but not the one he had hoped for. Back at the Swahili Water Park Resort, Scott was still confused about what had happened as he backed down onto his coaches. Suddenly, he heard a blast of whistles and the clattering of equipment as Rishaira and Grace the crane roared past. "Clear the tracks!" shouted Rishaira. "Derailed engine at Burmaburg Beach!" "Oh, mind your speed!" called Grace. "My gears are rattling!" As Mike was lifted back onto the rails by Rishaira and Grace, he saw that Rex and Bert were also there. They'd come to help repair the tracks and buffers beyond the turntable.
Well, Mike, you said you wanted a break from all the work you've been getting. But we never thought you would have it this way,
Finished Bert. "Well, if I must admit, it was all right," said Mike. "But I didn't think the only break that happened would be to a pair of buffers." The 3 engines laughed in agreement.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Morning, Scott! Off with your express runs again?
You bet.
And off to the loading dock, I assume?
Yeah, and we gotta get going, Rishaira. The boat's probably waited ages for us. All right, cool your pistons, Grace. We'll get it done in twice the time any old crane can.
Well, good luck, you two. Oh, and mind the
Ew. What is that smell? Ugh.
pong.
You know, I just can't nab my mind on what that smell going about here is. I mean, it's a little bit stinky, but stiffest and above is it a real pong. It's like 2 tons of old boiler sludge mixed with 1 ton of engine ash and 2 wagons of stinky cheese all boiled together in an oven. I'm telling you, it's the worst smell I've smelled since the holy hydraulics. Look out below! Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I wasn't paying attention and I bungled it up. No worries, at least it solved that fishy situation.
Hi, you two! You got my load of salmon to take to the Birmingham Station Cafe?
The Railways of Crotoonia. Rishaira, Grace, and the Big Branch Build. Written and illustrated by MilanToon. Models and sets produced by MilanToon, Soren Hermansen, Cylon, and Sodor P. Narrated by Kitten Sneeze.
Rishaira and Grace are 2 mighty machines of very different types. Rishaira is a miniature tank engine with emerald paint, green hair, and a small stumpy funnel. Grace is a miniature mobile crane with yellow paint, purple hair, and a big bulky funnel. Together, they work on the Chipperton and Swahilli Railway, taking care of work around the wharfs, freight yards, and stations that span the whole railway. The two took on quite a few construction jobs together, and this story is about one of them. It was 2 days before the grand opening of one of the longest jobs the two had ever taken on, the construction of a brand new branch line running from Ashton Goods Depot to Bakerloo Bakery. The bakery was to provide bread, cakes, pastries, and more to the busy Swahili Water Park Resort, and the railway had won the contract to build and run the new service. Rishaira and Grace had been working brilliantly on the build, but their friend Scott, the kindly and towering express engine, was a little worried. "Shouldn't you two rest up a bit? You've been building from dawn and dusk for a whole week."
Nothing Rishaira and Grace can't handle,
said Rishaira, with the steam of 1,000 suns.
We're on our final stretch now.
Aye, and it'd be a mighty shame if we up and chuff off to the sheds at this point.
But Scott could tell by how hard they were working that trouble might be creeping up sooner than they'd like. That afternoon, Grace was putting down a new line of track into a fresh foundation trench the mini digger had dug. But as she was slowly lowering the piece into position, she could feel something slipping. And then... clink! Her arm let down fast and her track piece slammed onto the ground. It wasn't damaged, but Grace couldn't lift. Grace was shunted to a siding by Rishaira while they waited for a mechanic. Grace was sad that she had to stop work, especially when it was so close to finishing.
No worries,
whistled Rishaira.
I can level the ballast while we wait.
Rishaira was soon fitted with her grader, and she was soon pushing lots and lots of ballast onto the tracks to make it strong and sturdy. But while she was smoothing out the heaviest ballast, bang!
Oh, cumbersome couplings!
Puffed out Rishaira. She had derailed because of some bigger chunks of rock. Not all the ballast she fetched had been crushed properly. Now Grace and Rishaira were out of action until further notice. They sat at their little campground feeling very miserable.
How will we finish and test the line before opening?
Cried a very sad Rishaira.
The other engines went away to the other railways.
At that point, Trench, who knew the engines had been working themselves to the frame, had decided, it's time to take action. Trench is not as fast as a railway engine or the dump trucks that collected and brought up all the dirt and ballast, but he hurried through the dark of the night to the town of Burmabur, where a certain locomotive was finishing a late-night special. And thanks to the two working hard through the night, there was quite a surprise for Rishaira and Grace. As they woke up, there, with a greater plow on his front, Trench next to him, and a freshly completed railway line, was Scott!
Blow my brake pipes!
Whistled Rishaira.
How in blazes did you get that lot done in one night?
Chuffed Grace. Well, said the usually quiet express engine, I had the best teachers in building a tank engine could ask for. And the fastest digger on these lines, chortled Trench. Rishaira and Grace were delighted to see their new line complete, though Scott recommended they still stay in their shed for the day. Scott and Trench worked together to test and fix all the final problems with the line as they slept, and soon, the line was ready for deliveries to travel on. And it was a good thing Rishaira and Grace got to rest, because the next day was the opening party and parade. The team was over the moon with the reception they'd gotten. Miss Ciela, the Fantasyland and Fairy Tale Railway Traction Company Limited manager, and Sir Alan Featherington, the overseer of all the Crotoonian railways, had brought over medals in honor of their hard work, and the bakery even baked a special cake to celebrate the completion of the brand new goods line. It was the best pre-opening party anyone ever had. After the celebration, everyone gathered at the platform for the official opening ceremony of the Bakerloo Bakery branch line.
I now declare this valuable new addition to our smallest railway
open, declared Miss Ella. And now, the builders who worked round the clock to build you this beautiful new service will take you to the resort with our first load of cakes and buns. And the Chipperton team, proud and strong, puffed off with the party together.
Scott, am I glad to see you? Can you help out with something at the nature reserve? We have a situation at the rhino habitat.
Sure thing, Matumbo. I've got about half an hour till my return trip home, so I'll help out.
Oh, thank you. And do be careful.
I know, don't worry. Rhinos can be very aggressive. What in the blooming world could have done?
Let me in, 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 let me in!
Strong bad? What's going on?
I'm boring!
What in the blazes did you do?
Well, I was tidying the habitats and kicked a bunch of rocks out of my way. Then that absolute tank came charging at me.
They go by sound and smell, and anything unfamiliar startles them.
Yeah, would have been nice if someone told me that this morning. So how do we get a spooked 4-ton brick back inside?
Well, not by running away. It's evening, so she's likely to be hungry. I've got a plan, but we'll have to call for help and be a bit brave.
Hey, I don't do brave. I do take it easy and live. Man, this looks way easier in that video game.
Nearly there. Nearly there.
Whew. Great work, Scott. You really helped save everyone's hides here, including our big little runaway.
It certainly wasn't easy, but I can't stay and chat. I've got my passengers to bring home. See you, Matombo.
Well, at least there weren't any snakes.
Rishaira and Grace are a cracking crew. Whether it's hauling heavy engines back on track, pulling freight across the railway, or building new branch lines, this team keeps the Chipperton and Swahilli Railway running. But for all their years of expertise and hard work, sometimes even the best rescue teams need to remember that rescues aren't always on the outside. It all started a day so warm you could fry an egg on your boiler when the two were called to Brakewood Park Yards for a boiler clog derailment.
Pardon me, excuse us. Just got a rescue to attend to.
Clear the tracks! Broken down loco coming through! There we go! One boiler jam loco back to safety.
Thanks for the rescue, fellas. I don't know where I'd be without you two to come help out.
Hey, no problem, Bert. That's what Rishaira and Grace are for.
Yeah, with your pushing power and my lifting power, we make a solid team. Especially since I can't push so well.
Good rescue, gang. Hey, have you two seen the new cables?
Cables? Oh, what new cables?
Oh, bloomin' heck. There were supposed to be some cables delivered here earlier to lay by the shoreline. They're laying them down to Warcroft Isle for the new house going up there.
Well, if you want us to, we can go pick them up.
You'd really go all the way back to Chipperton for them?
Hey, that's what friends are for!
And I'm the only engine around here with a hook to pick them up.
I promise those cables will be here before the stars come out.
Well, if you've got enough steam to make it to the end of the railway, go for it. I've got to get back to my express runs.
Back in a couple hours!
Take care.
Rishaira? Are you okay?
Fit as a fiddle, Grace. Why?
Well, just needed to check.
Rishaira? Is something wrong? No, nothing. Oh! Oh! I lied! Something's wrong! Oh! Look out! Rishaira, you okay? Yeah, I'm just fine. Good thing they had some equipment down at the wharf. Now that nasty old burst pipe's all fixed. Rishaira, are you okay? Yeah, actually, to tell you the truth, I'm not. I wasn't feeling too good, but I promised Scott I'd get these cables delivered in time. Now I feel really silly for nearly getting us hurt on that hill. Would have told someone if I wasn't worried about looking silly. Well, that's what friends are for, huh? Yeah, thanks, Grace. I think I better take the next little while off while I get some fine-tuning. Good idea. Every day the world begins again. Sunny skies or rain, come and follow me. Every sunrise shows me more and more. So much to explore. Come and follow me. Every morning, every day, every evening, calling me away. When the sun goes round, I'll still be found, following the sound. Something's calling me. When the world goes drifting back to bed, memories in my head, wonders follow me. Every morning, every day, every evening, calling me away. Come on, Grace! Every morning, every day, every evening, calling me away. Wait, who'll be working with me while you're out of action then?
Hey! Stay still, will ya?
Oh dear, sorry. I didn't mean to move a bit. I'm terribly sorry.
Well, you will be if you slide any further near that pool. Let's try this again. And don't move another suspension spring.
Oh yes, I understand. I'll keep steady, don't you worry.
This is going to take some getting used to.
Funding for the Railways of Crotoonia has been provided by our Patreon patrons, and by our all-new YouTube members, and by contributions to the MilanToon channel from viewers like you. Thank you!